This is your brain. And this
is your brain on top.
Hey, what's up? What up, bitches? I'm back. How's it going? It's been a while since I've done like a solo one with me and my voice. Yeah. It's been a hot minute. Just kind of busy. Been all over the place. Traveling to places. Doing things crazy. All of a sudden, I'm like, I'm going to do a bunch of stuff. And it's nice. I like it. I like doing things. Because like a lot of times it's just like me doing my own, like just, I'm just repeating myself. But like, just chilling, doing like nothing, like really specific and just kind of flowing with it. Someone's like, hey, want to do this thing? You're like, all right, sure. And so like the last like, what day is it? I don't even know. I'll say like last week. Yeah, it's probably like the last 7 days. I had like a very strict schedule of things to do, and I was like, I'm going to make these things happen. And it's nice. Nice to actually like plan for things. But then things like this get kind of like shoved off because like I'm not home or literally not like anywhere near home. Yeah, it was good. It was good times. Been just going all over the place. Went to a bunch of like live music, which is always fun. I don't do that often. Really ever, because it's expensive. Unless like my dad's like, hey, want to go to like Fish? I'm like, all right, sure. I'll do that, sure. Why not? Because like, he's an adult with money. He can pay for things. But yeah, I went to my first like dedicated like EDM show. Like I've seen EDM acts perform in like festival environments where they get like an hour and then they do their thing and they leave. And so like they can't really like get crazy with it. Because like the stage has to be rotated out on a pretty frequent basis, so like they can kind of get like a light show going maybe, but they can't be like it can't get insane, or they can kind of like they're I don't know the terms, I'm sorry, but like they're set up in the like what they're standing in or behind, they can't really get crazy with. Like you see the shit with like what's their name, Daft Punk. They have like that weird pyramid thing and stuff like that. Like they couldn't do that at a festival because like you got to move, things got to go. So like I went to see like the first thing I saw was Odessa. I saw them at Boston Calling. That's what they call it. Yeah, that's what they call it thing. So I was like, oh, this is neat, hanging out, seeing this. They had the light show was cool. Like that was their thing. But this time I went with a couple of coworkers to see Seven Lions. Yes, that's what they're called. Yeah, and it was pretty dope. They had two people come in front. And they were like, or openers. I don't know why I said in front. That was weird. But he had two people come in, like his openers. So like. It was longer too, which is nice, the whole thing. But like there's like a culture to the whole thing, which I wasn't aware of. I mean, of course there is, like, right? Everything has like a culture to it. I didn't know. But like they had like gone to like bigger festivals that were dedicated to EDM, so like they were like explaining things to me, like you wear fanny packs. Like I didn't know that. Like apparently that's cool now. That's awesome. All right. Like you do things, people wear like surgical masks with like lights in them. I'm like, this is really neat. Look at them go. So it's kind of cool. Like there's like things you do. And I always find that fascinating. Like I still really want to go to a furry convention because I find that just endlessly fascinating. Like just a bunch of people going with like a very, and like when you have very like specific like cultural, I don't know. I want for some reason faux pas was in my head, but the opposite of a faux pas. I don't know what the opposite of that is. But like you have like these cultural like things that you have like people abide by. I find that so fascinating. Where like think people have like a uniform, I guess is kind of what I'm trying to say. Where it's like you see someone in like a specific look and you go, oh, they're part of X, Y, and Z. I want to do more of that. I realize upon going to this, like I want to implant myself into these like cultural events where it's like, oh, here's this community that does this thing and they have their own rules and their own way of doing things, and I get to watch and just partake in the thing. It's fun. I enjoy it. But like yeah, it was really cool. Like go and like see everyone kind of like all the crowd is part of the enjoyment of it. It's like, oh, look at them do their thing, and oh, you do this, and okay, neat. Oh, that person's got a pretty cool outfit on, because like that kind of thing. Yeah, I really want to do that more. I gotta figure out like more like communities to like just leech onto and just be like, let me just watch you do your thing. I don't know. I find it endlessly fascinating because it's like I'm just so. It's kind of, I guess it must be like an outsider thing, but like it's not completely, because it's not like I've never heard EDM before, but like I didn't know that side of the side of the coin, I guess. So it's fascinating that there's like this whole other section to it. What was I saying though? Oh yeah, the show was dope. There's 3 people playing, and they had like this cool little like setup thing. I mean, only the headliner really used like this. He had, I don't know, it was like a big video wall, and then like the table he was playing on was also a video wall, which is pretty cool. And like they flowed into each other, like it was like one big projection almost. And so like because of the intensity of the LEDs, like he would look like just like a silhouette, which is really cool. I'm like, oh, this is neat. Like him just kind of, and then sometimes it looked because the environments on the screens were primarily like open areas, like a desert, for example. And then like the way the screens would be set up, it would look like he was part of the scene that was being played on the video wall. It was very interesting the way they like played it together. It was neat. And like it was just, I don't know. It's a neat thing. Watching someone kind of do that, and like it's also got kind of like a mystery to it because I don't really know what they're doing. They're just kind of up there. They're putting on headphones for a second, taking them off, hitting some buttons. Things are starting to happen. It's interesting. I'm not fully, and like I think too, I'm not sure because I'm very new to this. But like they might play the same song a few times and then change it and do different versions of it. I'm not entirely sure. Or certain songs are very long. I can't tell the difference. So they might just, because like I'd listened to this guy before. I was like, oh, I know this one. And then like a few minutes later, it would still be that one, but it'd be a little different. And so I'm not sure if that's what they do is like you break it. And one of the people I was with, she had said something like, something about like the last three, referring to the same. I forget how she worded it, but it made it sound like that's what you do. You take like a few songs and then you like do. You change them and make like, and so you take one song and make like 4 songs out of the one. I'm not sure, but it's what seemed like was happening. It was interesting. I enjoyed it. It was a very cool time, and like just going in, everyone's having a good time. It was actually the thing that was super weird, completely parallel to the not parallel. I guess parallel because this would never happen. It'd be so different compared to the other show I went to was like this guy like bumped into me. And he like turned around and he was like all love. He was like, man, we bumped into each other in 1,000 shows. Little did he know. I have no idea who this guy is or anything about it. But he's like, we bumped into 1,000 times, whatever. And like, it's all love, man. I just gave him a hug and we moved on. And then I went to this other show. She'll get to in more detail. But like this guy bumped into this girl and she turned to him and she was like, you fucking hit my ass like 7 times. I'm going to fucking murder you. And I was like, wow, this woman is getting real hostile right now. And like, it was so different than this EDM show. Everyone just being so friendly and everyone's having a good time and like, everything's cool, man. But like, you got us on these. I've been to who did I see? Was it Mo? It was some jam band thing. And like, there's this guy, he was high on something. It was also raining, so this is partially probably why this guy was so upset to begin with. So this guy was high, and he was covered in mud. And he was running around, and he slipped and bumped into this dude who had his arms crossed. He was all big, tough guy. And then the guy who was covered in mud got up and he started apologizing, like, yo, man, all love. And the guy was like, fuck that, and got the dude ejected. And I was like, this is sad. I'm witnessing sadness because this guy wasn't having any of it. But like, that was the opposite of this guy. I guess the EDM crowd is much younger too. So like, that might be part of it as well. Because this guy, the guy who bumped into that guy was like, I don't know, he's probably my dad's age. He'd be like 49, 50 at the time, whatever. He's just this old man. I was like, this does not compute with me that this old man is like so angry at this very like supposedly much love type of event. It was interesting. I don't know why that was. It was like, I don't know. But yeah, it was a good time. I enjoyed it. I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna do more. Like I said, I want to find more of these little things. If you know of a community that you're just like, hey, come watch me do my thing, I'm gonna come watch you do your thing. I find it endlessly fascinating. Like, I've gone to, like, video game tournaments of, like, games I've never even played. Or, like, or don't play anymore or something. Just because, like, it's enjoyable to watch people do things. I don't know why. I like watching people do things at a high skill level. It's fun. I don't know. I used to watch people play Guitar Hero on YouTube all the time. I would just watch people play, like, weird songs, and I'm like, oh, that's really good. That guy's really good at that game. That's really fun. But, like, I never really played. I've never owned it. You know? Like, I find it interesting. What was I saying? I don't remember now. Oh, yeah. But yeah, it was really fun. I enjoyed doing that. And then later, 2 days later, in fact, no, on Monday. So this was Thursday. Monday. Yes. I had gone down to the city, like a couple days, I don't know. The EDM thing was up here, and then I went down to the city to see Pale Waves, because they're wonderful, and I love them. Shouts to them. They put on a great show. It was like really wordy. What was I saying? I had a thing to lead into that, and I lost it. Doesn't matter. So I went down to the city and like went to see them, and that's where this girl like almost murdered these guys. But like, to be on their side, the dudes, it was like maybe 3, maybe 4 dudes that were all dating or banging. I can't tell. It was very confusing. They would just all make out with each other. very like, well, the one dude and this really old guy were making out with each other, and then this other dude showed up, and the old dude was just old news. Like, they didn't fucking care at all. But they were very hands-on. And there was a fourth guy who they clearly knew, and they would touch his face a lot, but he wasn't getting the kisses. So I don't really know where he stood in this quadrilateral of love. I don't really know, but they knew him, and it was weird. I don't know. But like, they were so, they took up a lot of space. They were like very animated. They were bumping into shit. So that's why the girl got so mad. But like, when she turned around and like her reasoning was like, "You've touched my butt," is like, I don't think they're concerned with that. It was clearly an accident. Just pay attention. It was a lot. She was very angry. She was very angry. And then like, I ended up standing in front or behind her. But I'm like, she was so tiny that like, when like Pale Waves came on and I would get like excited or like jump up or whatever, you know, I was like, I'm going to run this girl over because she's so small. I'm going to like actually crush her if I like, so like at one point something happened and a bunch of people like jumped up and like I did it too. And I was like, I can't do this a second time because if I lose my balance, I'm going to fucking crush this girl and she's already like kind of on edge. So I had to like slow myself down for a second. Like, I can't do that. That would be a mistake. Yeah, Pale Waves did a good show. The two people that opened for Pale Waves were fucking abysmal. They were so fucking bad. It was like this one band that I walked in and they were like, "Hey, for those of you who just come in," I was like, "Oh, I must be coming in with a crowd." Just kind of my thought, because like I didn't really notice that I was with a bunch of people, but the lead singer decided to point this out. So like I rolled in with, I guess, a crowd. So I was like, "Oh, hey, if you're just coming in, the last two songs are our best two songs." He played like 2 bars of the first song. I'm like, "This is terrible. We'll get a drink." And so I just turned around and went out and got a drink. It's like, this is horrible. And then the second band, I have no idea who they were. That was the worst thing too, is both of these openers never opened or closed with their name, which is a thing I've realized that Heather of Pale Waves she's a great front person. She's so good at her job. Like, she's always like, "Hey, we're Pale Waves," when they start. She'll say it in the beginning, in the middle somewhere sometimes. She'll say it at the end. Like, she very much is like, it almost seems like she's just copying what you do as a band front person from movies, but it fucking works because I understand who they are and what's going on. Like, I don't know why these bands didn't do that, but they didn't. They just rolled on in, and then rolled on out. So I can't tell you who these people were, and I can't avoid them in the future because I don't know who they were. I could look it up if I wanted to, like figure who their openers were, but I don't really care. The second one was atrocious. They all had like weird matching orange outfits, and it was weird. And the main girl looked like Velma. And she was terrible, and they were so bad. They were so shouty, and I hated it. And so I left her in the middle there, sat and got another drink because I needed it because it was so bad. And then it was like, this is the worst. And then finally Pale Waves came on. It was amazing. It was so much fun. It was really fun too because the first time I went to see them in the city, it was like half people who knew them and half people who were being dragged to go see them. Because like when like the show ended last time, like I kept hearing people say like, "What'd you think about them? What'd you think?" Like they were like asking like their friend like or whoever they were with like, "Oh, I like this," you know, that kind. It was like that kind of conversation like over and over again. Ever since I was like walking out, I would like keep bumping into that same like point over and over again. What was I saying? Oh yeah, but like they also had like way less material back then. They didn't have an album. That was in April, and they have an album now out. So they have like constructed 50 minutes of music as opposed to at the time they had like maybe 45. Like if you played everything back to back, and like several of their songs back then they never played in public. Like what is now Black was known amongst the fans as whatever the first line is in that song. I don't remember now. What's the name of the first thing? "You Don't Love Us Anymore." So like that's what everyone just called it because it didn't have a name, and they never played it anywhere but like at shows, and like it was only really just like fill like a like space. They were like, "Hey, you got to play for 30 minutes." Like that's when they played that song because they really didn't have any music back then. So now they have like a bunch, and it was nice because like people can hear them and stuff. So like you would hear people like shout out for like, because like everyone pretty much, even if you're like passing knowledge of them, you know who Heather is because she's just the main, the front person or whatever. And you probably know who Kira is too because they're the kind of, the very distinct look that's, whatever. But like there are people calling out for like Charlie and Hugo like in the crowd. Like, oh, okay, so these people like know this band. This is nice. Like everyone's getting love here. And like everyone, and everyone's just like super into it. It was a good time. And then it's always fun to just, and they pull in quite the crowd of lesbians, which like kind of weird because Heather only came out like that night on Twitter. So like weird that, everyone kind of knew. It was very clear. If you follow them in any capacity, you're like, I think that those two bang. I think those two have kissed before. I would, If they haven't, the love is dead. Because, like, come on. They tattooed their names on each other. Like, how do they not bang? Like, who are we trying to trick? Who are we trying to trick? So, like, obviously, they pull that audience, and it's a lovely time. But, like, I'm surprised that, like, it took this long. Some of the comments in the, like, whatever tweet was, like, it was like, yes, I'm gay or something. So many of the comments on the tweet were just like, wow, really? Or, like, very, like gifs of people being, like, sarcastic or something, like, I can't believe it, holy shit. Or, like, I'm pretending to be shocked, like, that kind of stuff. 'Cause it's, like, it's so clear. It was, it was fun, though. It's always a good time to be. It was more fun being in a crowd of everyone being a super fan, because, like, everyone was shouting, like, lyrics together and stuff, and everyone's hanging out. And when they left to play before they played their encore, what was it? It was the girl who tried to kill those guys. She turned to, like, me and these 3 other girls who were really into it, and she was like, they have to be back. They haven't, and I couldn't hear what she said, but she said, like, one of the few songs they hadn't played, because they only have, again, their library is not massive, so you can kind of start, like, hitting check boxes and be like, all right, they have these many songs left, so they have this much. They ended up playing 3 songs in their encore, because it was the 3 songs they'd left. So she's like, they gotta play this. I'm like, you're right, they have to play that, so they must be coming back. Like, so it was, everyone just, like, knew the stuff, like, knew the group, and it was fun. Like, then, like, going to pick up my coat, people thought, I was just standing around a crowd of people more, and they were like, oh man, I'm so glad they played this song, da-da-da. And so, like, people, like, knew shit. It was nice. It was a good time. I enjoy them. They put on a good show, and that's the thing too. I think Heather just puts on a good show. She's very good at her job. Even if she is just kind of doing what you would, if, like, I was like, hey, you're gonna be the head you're gonna lead a band, do things. You're gonna do, like, put the mic to the crowd and have a conversation with them. That was the nice thing too. Is, like, they kind of chilled. They were, like, having fun. They're like, hey, let's talk. How you guys doing? It was like that kind of stuff. It's nice. I wish they would not always be just in the city, but they're not that big that they could, like, afford to come up here. Not going to be, like, in Albany. People are going to be like, who the fuck is this? And, like, not show up. So, because I don't really know, like, really just Northern Lights, which is where the EDM show was, is, like, the only real, like, tiny venue where people that aren't, like, absolutely massive can show up. Like, it's not, we have, like, theaters and stuff here. Like, not really just, like, holes in the wall, which is, like, where Pale Waste plays in the city. They played in what was called, a music hall, but it was still just, like, a hole in the wall. It wasn't much bigger than, Northern Lights. It was maybe a little taller. They had, like, a balcony area where, like, people could stand. Like, I think it's, like, where the band hung out. And, like, the stage goes higher, but, like, that's it. Like, it's not, like, spatially on the floor as a commoner. Like, we didn't have that much more space. But yeah, it was a good time. I like them. I'd like them to be around more. It sucks too that they're British, so, like, they're, like, they'll do, like, stints in Europe for a while, and it's like, oh, I guess I'm not gonna see them. But I mean, hey, they came back twice in 1 year, so my odds of seeing them in the next 6 months pretty high, which is nice. I'd like to see them more often. I don't know. I like seeing live stuff. I should do that. And honestly, too, the nice thing both those shows, they're like $20 to go. It was kind of awesome. If it, like, for the city one, no, it cost me a whole bunch to, like, take the train down there, and I, like, met up with some people and, like, hung out in places and stuff. But I was like, it was kind of a vacation where I was just like, I'll just spend money, and I just spent a bunch of money that I didn't have to, but I did. But it'd be nice to have more stuff like that up here, where it's just like, oh, I'm just gonna go do this thing, and I don't have to, like. I kind of made it like a thing where it's like, I'm gonna go do this event and, like, travel down by train and make it kind of weird and, like, make it harder for myself to get from point A to point B. So, like, I didn't have to make it as grand as it was. I could have just gone, like, the last time I went, I rolled in to a train station, took that fucking train south, got into the city, went to my thing, got back on that train, and got back in my car and left. And that kind of sucked. I'm thinking it was better that I just kind of took my time down there, but I should go with someone next time, because I think it'd be more fun to kind of hang. And then, like, also, when public transportation is bad, just be able to turn to someone and go, this sucks, right? And they go, yep. And you go, all right, cool. That would be nice. Because, like, yeah, it's just always fucking. I keep hitting my fucking thing. I turn my head. Every time I go, it's like, if I'm by myself, it's just so much worse just to be like, I talk about this Pat, I guess, but, like, it's just like, I have no one to, like, talk about this or, like, share this, like, the bad part where it's like, oh, cool, subways aren't running for some reason. Or we got into the subway, perfect, it's just not moving. Why? I don't know. Like, that would be nice. Just be like, what is happening? But yeah, it was fun. I should do it more often. I like it. It's fun. It's good times. What else was there that I did? What else did I want to talk about? Oh, yeah. So, it kind of exploded. It caused a lot of. I don't even know if it's like. I really don't know what the general consensus is by the internet, but like the Detective Pikachu trailer dropped, and like I knew like that was happening. Like months ago, there was people talking about it. Almost years ago, this was being talked about. I was still in college, I think, when it was first like announced as a game or something, and then people were like, we're gonna make a movie. Like it was years ago. Because I remember talking about the potential for the movie at a Project M tournament. I haven't played Project M in fucking years. So like it was a long time ago. Where everyone was just like chilling and like having this kind of like being like, oh, Danny DeVito, like that Danny DeVito joke was like still a thing. So this was years ago. Now I'm thinking about it. I thought it was only months ago, but now I'm thinking about it. That conversation I was having had to have been at least 2 years ago. And I was like, hilarious. Assuming never going to happen. Like, who would make this movie? And then, like, Ryan Reynolds got attached to it. I'm like, still, who is making this? Like, I don't understand how this movie is going to be made. So you're going to tell me it's going to be a live-action Pokemon movie with Ryan Reynolds voicing a Pikachu. When? How? What is happening? This doesn't seem real. So I gave up on it. I just pretended I was like, there's no fucking way this is happening. And the trailer drops, and I still don't believe it's happening. Like, who approved that? What a weird idea, but like I'm totally on board. It's everyone. It seems like that's the general consensus. I don't know if people hate or dislike it, but everyone's thoughts are super weird. I think I'm gonna have to see that because it's super weird, and you kind of need to see it happen. Because like another thing too is like all the Pokemon are weird as fuck looking. I don't know why. I mean, like I know there's like a push, no, not a push, but like a group of people on the internet who enjoy making Pokemon look like real animals for some reason. It never looks good. It's always weird. I don't understand why people do it, but it's a weird thing. It's like a weird subset of art, of like fan art. It's like a very, very hyper-realistic Pokemon. People do it all the time. People love it. I've seen people who've had it as backgrounds for their computer. I don't get it. It weirds me out. It looks gross, honestly. I feel like you make it like intensely gross on purpose. I don't know. It's very weird. Yeah, it's odd. I don't know why they do it. It's such a weird thing. But, like, that's all this is. So, like, that's what at least it reminds me of. Like, Psyduck looks fucking whack. I don't know what his thing is. It's, like, weird. He doesn't look like he's made of, like, feathers. He just looks like he's made of gross. I don't know. And then, like, Jigglypuff and Pikachu being, like, furry, like, is kind of, like, odd, too. But, I don't know. I guess, like, I never really thought about that. Like, I kind of always thought, like, Pikachu would be, like, a short-haired animal. More like a squirrel, but he's like kind of almost like a cat in this movie. He's like his hair is like noticeably long. I don't know. Maybe a squirrel's not even a good example in this situation, but like it's weird. I don't know. It looks weird, but I'm super into the idea of it, and it's like super. At least from the trailer, it seems like it was written by like some pretty big fans. Like they're referring to things correctly, and like there's at least the set designers are huge fans. Because some of the signs in, like, the town, like, it's weird, too, because they're in, like, a weird, like, Blade Runner town, almost. It's not, there's one of the posters, you can see the name of the city. I can't remember what it is now. I thought for a second it was a named city, because I missed what they said when I first saw the trailer, and then the kid has, like, a Sinnoh Pokemon League poster in his room. I'm like, oh, it's in the Sinnoh region. That's interesting that they, like, went out of their way to pick a town or a city in Sinnoh. But I think it might be in there, but it's a different name of a town. I haven't played the game that it's based on, so maybe it's referring to that. I don't know. But it's like cool, like how much, because if you look at the poster, there's like just so many references to things and like of all the stores that they're in. It was weird neon signs because it's this weird Blade Runner town. I don't know why it is, but it is. And there's all these like neon signs. His bedroom's full of like different stuff. It's kind of cool. So I'm very interested. And like I saw some people talking like, oh, this might be the first good video game movie. Probably. It sounds possible. Because like the other big video game movie that's being made right now is the Monster Hunter one. Every time pictures from that come out, I always think it's a Transformers sequel. Because it's just a bunch of dudes in military garb holding like modern day rifles. Like there's no footage of like anything Monster Hunter related. There's no like, I mean, we've seen test footage or like CG test footage. I don't know what you call that. Of like a Rathalos fighting I can't remember what it was, some other monster that shows up, or maybe it's a Rathalos fighting. It doesn't matter. There's a Rathalos in it. It might just be the Rathalos. I forget. But it's like in a city. It's like 5 seconds long, and it's just like fighting things. And when I saw that, I go, that's probably a bad start. Like that seems wrong. Like Monster Hunter is about cavemen fighting dinosaurs and dragons. Like, this is not that. I don't know. The original synopsis I read was like, it takes place in modern day, and the protagonist is like an ancestor of the Monster Hunter universe, and he transferred over here, and he's like either his existence or something he does triggers a rift, and so monsters start coming over to our world, and then he has to go over there to do that, because they said somewhere in there that like the bone weapons will be in there, and the armor and stuff that we know and love will be in there, and it might just be like there's this part that takes place in our world and not exclusively over there. But I think it's weird that any of it takes place over here. But I guess Monster Hunter's super weird, and not a lot of people know what it is especially in America. So like, this is how you ease them into it, and you're like, hey, look, stuff now let's get fucking weird. So I don't know how they're gonna play it off. I don't know. Everyone keeps making jokes every time they show a picture of it. They're like, wow, look at this new light bow gun or whatever. But like, I don't know. That movie's going to be either absolutely abysmal or never get made. Although they're filming it, I guess. But, like, you never know. Something can happen where there's like, and shut this shit down. Because, like, Resident Evil's not very accurate to the rest of it. It just uses aspects of it and kind of does its own thing. So, it's the same guy. That's why I think this movie's being made, is because, like, oh, wow, Resident Evil made a bunch of money. You know what makes a lot of money for us is Monster Hunter. No, it's not making a lot of money for us in America. Monster Hunter. Let's fucking... Although it did well, and World did super well over here now. So, I feel like now it's, like, a thing. I mean, it's on the fucking... what do you call it? The Game Awards. It's one of their Game of the Year nominees, which is, I'm surprised. I'm shocked. Like, of all the things up there, I would have never thought that one would have made the list. So that's cool. I think that's what I voted for. I pretty much just voted for that and Spider-Man over and over again. I don't really remember what I voted for. I think that was it, though. Every chance I could get, I would try to give it to that. I still play that game, which is crazy. Like, of all the games that came out this year, like, Monster Hunter is like the one I play the most. So sure, that probably deserves it. But also Spider-Man's real good, so what do I know? A solid one, a solid pick. But if it wasn't that, I thought it was going to be like just Spider-Man, Red Dead Redemption, like Assassin's Creed. What else came out there? Celeste or something. I think those are all on that list. And then Monster Hunter was also just plopped in there. Like, I would have, been like, oh yeah, sure, all these other things, why not? Spider-Man, sure. But like, and all of a sudden Monster Hunter's there. Like, I guess I vote for the thing I play still. I don't know. I guess I'm like, this is the game I like. Yeah, I do like this one most, I guess. I didn't know you did too. Yeah. Spider-Man's real good. I beat the DLC. That DLC was like pretty fun, pretty easy. I don't know. That whole game's pretty easy though. It was like super quick. You just banging out, like just doing a couple quick things. I didn't kill myself over 100%ing all the challenges in this one, because I 100%ed all the challenges in the original release, and yeah, that was cool. I guess not doing that was way easier and way less stressful. Because some of the challenges to get 100% in the original game were like fucking pixel perfect, like movement, and it's like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever done. Why am I doing this? But I did it, so fuck me, I guess. What was I saying? But yeah, but it's super easy. It was really short too. That was actually kind of upsetting. I thought it'd be a little bit more content, but I know they're releasing the second chapter like real soon, like in days from now. The 20th, I think, is the day it comes out. It's the 14th as I record this, so sometime soon there'll be chapter 2, and I forget when chapter 3 comes out. I think it comes out like over the winter or something, or like over the winter. I think in December I think it comes out. I don't really remember when that's doing that. But yeah, I don't know why I got on that tangent. What was I talking about? Monster Hunter? Oh, the Monster Hunter movie. Weird that's existing too, by the way. Like, what a weird thing. I don't know, we'll see what happens. I can't wait. I'll see the Monster Hunter movie. You fucking kidding me? What kind of train wreck could this possibly be? And then, yeah. So direct Pikachu. I forget who's directing. Do we know who's directing it? We probably do at this point, right? Because it's done, it seems like. So we must know. Let me see here, but I gotta say, it seems, fun. It seems very fun. Because, like, just what a silly concept to be like, oh, we're going to do this thing that's really, we're going to make this, oh, here we go, okay. Rob Letterman. He's the writer from Shark Tale. That's a good start. That's a good start. He made the Goosebumps movie. Okay. Oh, he made the Gulliver's Travels movie. I saw that in theaters. Yeah, I did. Oh, he also directed Shark Tale. Interesting. Well, that's a thing. a lot of people that wrote this movie. There's a lot of okay, never mind. There's a lot of people just based on all the people from Pokemon. But yeah, okay. So that's not great. Ryan Reynolds usually signs on to pretty fun projects though. Like I can't think of a Ryan Reynolds movie that I like actively dislike. He's pretty delightful. He can pretty much win a crowd or win a room over. That guy should start a cult. So I imagine it'll be a good time. I would imagine, but I don't know for sure what that movie is gonna. Now I'm like hesitant because now I know who's like involved. So that's weird because Shark Tale's terrible, and Gulliver Travel, not that good. So yeah, maybe it got better. I don't know. Let's fucking hope. What was I gonna say? Oh, speaking of film, a movie I just saw today, which is actually why I delayed this because I was going to see it last night, but I got sleepy, so I went to bed. But what I saw was instead, what do you call it? Honestly, I need to read it because I can't remember how to pronounce it. Suspiria. That's it. It is a remake of a 70s horror movie. And then I didn't really even know that this was happening or coming out. It's the guy who did Call Me By Your Name, is the director for this. And then he's doing, he just did this, I guess. That's obviously, this is the next movie. But I never saw that, so I don't really know. I'm not like following him as a director because I don't know. I didn't see any of his other work. But I had vaguely heard of the original because of Dario Argento. That's his first name, right? That was the original director. And like I don't think I've ever seen any of his work, but like I'm familiar of his existence. So like, well, he did. Isn't he attached to like Night of the Living Dead or something? Isn't that why he's like super famous? I don't remember, but like I'm familiar with the guy. He's he comes up enough when you just pay attention to movies and stuff. Mostly for like older day stuff, being back in the day or whatever. He'll come up, and like I guess with his daughter being part of something, I don't really even know what happened. Something bad happened with her. I don't know. I digress. Not good. But like so like his name had come up again. I was like, oh yeah, what has he done? Like I know him, and then just be like, oh okay, that's stuff. Right, great, cool, whatever, and then just moving on. So this movie came out, and I remember looking through Fandango because I was like, I'm bored, I want to see a movie, and I couldn't see anything I wanted, and the poster's so weird for this movie. I was like, oh, I don't know what that is. And I skipped it. I was like, whatever, and then YMS, the only person I listen to on the internet for movies, did a thing of it, or just reviewed it, or quickied it, or whatever. So he talked about it for 5 minutes, and he's just like sold me on it. I was like, oh, this sounds fucking awesome. Like, and he always does a good job of like not really breaking it down, of like what it is or anything like that necessarily. He shows the trailer over like kind of on loop, just to I think actually changes the speed too, so it doesn't get like copyright claimed. But like he'll just show the trailer and over again, talk over it, and then just kind of give his take. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. I now know. I have a better idea of what this is because I didn't really know it was a horror movie until he said that. And then because he talked about the original 70s one too, which I actually kind of want to see now, kind of compare the two, because he was saying that it's like way more colorful, and this one's like way washed out. Like it's very like somber colors. So I'm very interested in seeing it as a comparison. But I guess I should just say it's amazing. This movie's amazing. It's so good. I was like fucking blown away by how good this movie was. The camera work is fucking hot. It's so good. So delicious. And like you can see that they tried to do like old 70s things where like you have like that hard zoom, or like you move the camera in very awkward ways because like you don't have like perfect like whatever. It's not perfect. It's not as clean as it is today. It's still like some older technology would still kind of make things a little jittery or make it a little shaky or whatever. It was gorgeous. I loved it. So delicious. It looked so good. The movie was so pretty. And like they have so many cool places where they would put the camera. Like at one point they just have like a normal, like they follow her into the room, and then like someone talks to her and they pull the camera way back, and you're like, oh, the camera is like in the ceiling, or like it's like on the wall, but up or towards the ceiling, and like they just had it on like an arm and they brought it up there, and it's like, oh, this is weird. This is a cool spot to put this. Like they would pick weird spots, or like they would have it where like someone would be like walking, because it's a like a dance studio is where it kind of takes place, whatever. Like a dance school. I don't know. They live there. I don't really know what we would call this. Like they're professionals, but they live there. It's weird. But like when they'd be in like their rooms, they like most of the time the camera would be like in the corner of the room. It was like cool, as opposed to being like level with the actor. It was like way above or way below, or like would move to be in a spot it needed to be in. Fascinating. Very long. It's like 2.5 hours, but it's very good. It was very interesting. And like I find it like I love when movies use mirrors and reflections. I think it's so cool. It's my fetish. I love it. But no, it's fucking dope. Oh, it looks so good. And like I don't know what it is, but like very creepy or suspenseful dance movies I'm all about. I love it. I don't know why. I guess it's like dance is weirdly inherently creepy to me, at least. Like it's weird to watch people move their body in very unusual ways, and then to do it all in unison is fascinating. And like also to like the point of perfection, like you can do, like it's weird. Dance is so weird, and it's fascinating to watch like someone try to make a movie like and kind of making something that's already kind of creepy really creepy. And when you're like a room of mirrors, because like they dance with mirrors on the wall, I actually don't even know why they do that. I guess it's to like I don't know, is it just to kind of like compare or like watch your body so you know what you're doing correctly? I don't know why they do it. I actually don't know. I've never even thought about why it's always with mirrors, but I like it when a camera can like, or like obviously it's mostly CG to remove the camera, but it's cool when you watch them try to put the camera in a spot so that you can't see it, and you do stuff like that. I think that's always fascinating. And they did this one thing which I really love, and I do it to myself all the time, is when you're looking at your a reflection within a reflection, I guess is what you're saying. Like I want to say, like how do I put this? Like when you're looking at the reflection, like your fate, like the subject is being reflected, but you kind of see like through what they're seeing to something else. Kind of, does that make sense? I don't know. There's one point where like, I guess it's not really in this case. This is not exactly what I'm talking about, but like there's a point where like they brought this camera up to a window, and then you saw Tilda Swinton's face show up, who's amazing in this movie, by the way. Holy shit! I found out she plays 3 characters in this. I didn't even realize that she plays 3 different people. And then I was looking through IMDb to just like see like who was involved, like while I was like walking around out of the movie theater. She plays 3 people, but I'll get to that in a second. I like show her through the glass, so she's like kind of like that. It almost looks like it's reflected because it's like that lower, or like almost not washed out, but like it's less refined. And then what she was looking at, so what we saw what she was looking at through the reflection of the window. That's what I'm trying to say. I think that looks super cool, and I like that a lot. It was so dope. The very beginning has really fucking good camera work. They like dial it back as they're trying to get like the story told sometimes, where they're like, all right, we need to have this like just do shot reshot to get some of this, just get moving. It's like we're spending a lot of time just fucking swinging the camera all over the room right now. It was really cool. And like just to have like, I don't know, it's so interesting. And like I'm not going to lie to you. It's very like if I said it wasn't an art film, I'd be lying. Like there are things in there that's like, to a normal audience, be like, this is just like random nonsense being shown on screen right now. Like there's like a dream sequence that's just like a bunch of images really fast of like a bunch of different things that were all like kind of applicable to the movie, but are kind of obscure, or not obscure, obtuse is probably a better way to put it. So like they're moving real fast and they're just showing all this shit like really quick. And it's really gross stuff or like weird stuff or whatever. Oh boy, fascinating movie though. Fascinating. Like it's so cool. The things they're doing are so cool, and like the places they're trying to go with like this dance thing, and like I said, I think it's kind of cool that you pick this weird, kind of a very weird, almost unhuman thing to do. This very like synchronized, controlled dance thing, and like in this movie, it's not like I'm kind of comparing it to Black Swan in that aspect, but whereas Black Swan is the art of like ballet, which is perfection, this is more like an interpretive dance thing, so it was even more strange of like movements that someone's trying to like is making. So it's like, you know, whatever. Man, fascinating though. What a fascinating fucking movie. I loved it. So interesting. And the thing too, the thing I think I love about it so much is I haven't watched a movie where I feel like I need to go again, but even though I can't because it's fucking like leaving theaters. Like I barely got a chance to see this. I had 3:20 today in the afternoon. Thank God I got out of work early. Or I had fucking 9:45 yesterday, and that's fucking it. Like it's ridiculous. This movie's just like never gonna be. I don't know what the fuck. It is done by Amazon Studios, so I meant to check. I'll check right now if it's gonna be if it's already online, because it might already be. Because I want to watch it again to kind of like, because like there are things in there like for the beginning of the movie, there's like always stuff, like it's always raining or it's snowing, and there's always something coming out of the sky, and like it seems like that's all set, like the building that they're in, I would imagine. So I would assume like there's a reason for that, like it almost felt like just like something I would have seen in like college or something, something that like someone's gonna sit there and like explain to me, or like oh, this is here because of this. Also, like I feel like I would need some kind of knowledge in like German history, because there's a lot. Oh, you can't. I think can you actually. Oh no, you can only add it to the watch list. It's not out yet because it's still in theaters. So that's probably that's probably the deal. But it is on Amazon Movie, so I would assume it's going to be out soon. Like, I would say, like, the language breakdown of this movie is something like 60 fucking 35-5 English, German, French. Like, a lot of this movie is spoken in German. And it's kind of cool, too. What they'll do is when someone speaks another language that's, like, require subtitles, they have, like, a, what do you call that? Like a shadow drop in different colors. So they have, if they're speaking German, the shadow drop is red. If they're speaking French, the shadow drop is blue. It's really cool. I thought that was such an interesting... if I ever do something, like, that is something I would totally take, because that's such a cool fucking idea of, like, you have, like, color-coded languages. So even if you don't necessarily know, like, what language is being taught, like, spoken, it's a different language, I think that's really cool. Like, I just happen to... Like, I know what they kind of sound like, or I know some of the words in some of them, so they would say something, oh, they're speaking French, and then I realize, oh, that's how they're doing it, and then I would never have to think about that again. I would just go, oh, they're speaking French right here. Oh, they're speaking German. Whatever. And the movie takes place in Berlin, so a lot of times when, like, two characters would be speaking, it would be blue, and then it would cut to, like, a news announcer. And, of course, he's speaking German. So, like, that's how I actually figured it out, was, like, she had, like, walked in, she goes, you'll have to learn, you'll learn French for this or something. She, like, briefly mentioned learning French, and then they started speaking in French, and then it cut to German again. I was like, oh, they're color coding. That's fucking brilliant. And they would just do it over. It was, like, really cool. What a movie. So cool. Creepy, too. There's a lot of creepy shit in there. It's like really does a good job of being like really uncomfortable. I really do want to see the first one, because apparently it's a lot different, like visually and stuff. So I'd be curious how that performs in that kind of way, because it's just interesting. And it was funny too. When the movie ended, it was just me and this one other guy, and like I guess because it was just this, it was a very weird. It's almost like I don't even know how to, like, what it's like. Kind of has weird sexual things going on, like. More like, not like explicit, but like implied, as it's pretty much just all women in as the cast, and I can't come to learn that even the one male main character is played by Tilda Swinton, so like everyone is a female, which is an interesting take and kind of means more to the whole thing when you're like, oh, literally everyone on screen is a woman most of the time, so that's interesting. But like they go to like this one room, and there's a lot of this artwork, and a lot of the artwork is very like feminine, but it's like what's the word I want? Not obtuse. Abstract. It's like abstract female body parts and stuff. It's interesting. And like at one point they something happens where it's like this like spot. It's weird. A lot of weird stuff going on. That's why I want to see it again. I got to watch it again. It's broken into very clear 6 acts, and then each time the act like text comes on screen, there's like artwork associated with it. It's like, it's not like insane, complicated artwork. It's like a black bar on the bottom with some little white ticks on it, and then some of them are red. And then when Act 2 starts, more of them are red. And then when Act 3 starts, more of them are red, and there are some squares. And then like Act 4, and then there's like there's like a bar on the bottom of the frame, and then like it's so like those changed. And they all have names and stuff like that. It's like each one had a name that was associated to what was going to happen, and it's interesting. I really would like to watch it again, or like watch it with someone like pointing out things like, oh, this is happening because it takes place in the 70s in Germany. So, oh, this is because they're referencing this, because they talk about some rebel group or something, or like there's a part where this guy has these Aryan papers, and I think like I think that refers to something with the Nazis, because it's an older guy who has that, and his wife's dead. So like I think that means if she had those, she wouldn't have been gone to the concentration camp. I don't know. I'm not really sure what was happening. He I don't know if he blamed himself for his wife's death, or like she died because he did something wrong. It was confusing. That part was a little confusing, because I didn't really know what the context of Germany was when this happened, because they're talking about this invasion. I'm like, I think that's the invasion of the Russians when the Americans also came, so I was like, I'm not really sure. So I'd almost like need like a German person to be, or someone that like knows more about that history to be like, this is what they're talking about. Because I could kind of put it together with my vague 20th century, 21st century, I guess, fucking, American sentiment, like values. I can kind of put it together, but I feel like I still was I was missing something. And then just visually and what's the word I want? Symbolically. There's so much more going on. I'm like, I just need more of this. I need to understand what's happening. It was so good. I enjoyed it so much. Because there are movies like fucking Annihilation. And like I get this fucking video recommended to me all the time. It's like explaining Annihilation or something. Like, fuck you. This movie was not that complicated. Like, the most you can get tripped up on is like the science of Annihilation. Like, great. Awesome. Like, whatever. Like, the ending is like, it's not that fucking complicated. It's very clear what's happening. Like, I don't know. It's like what people usually brand or mark as like these complex, like, oh, I need to analyze this movie. What am I saying? Analyze this movie. It never is that hard to figure out or is that complicated. And I think there's like a YouTube channel literally dedicated to explaining endings of movies that are not fucking difficult to understand. I don't understand. It's weird. I don't know. But this is one where it's like the analysis is more about like the symbolism and stuff like that. That's way more interesting. That's way more that's just interesting. It's more interesting, more fun. Not like, oh, I couldn't figure out what was happening because whatever. It's yeah. So this is way it felt nice like leaving the theater like, oh my god, it's like when I'd go to a weird class, like I'd pick some weird film class in college and they just show something like very weird. Like, that was cool. I don't know what I just saw, but that was cool. Like, I learned something about like me just by watching this thing about something else. Like, it's cool. And it's just, I don't know. It's that kind of stuff that's like way more interesting. Like obviously just watching someone do something you can't believe is being done is pretty interesting. I don't know, it's fascinating. And like the story too, interesting, very interesting. I don't know. They built a cool world in a very small space, if that makes sense. Like, it's pretty much just a studio. Like this dance, it's like a dance compound, not a compound because it's just a building, but it's like a dance apartment building, I guess. I don't really know. They have like a front studio where they practice and there's like offices. They all live there. But like that's pretty much where most of the movie takes place. So interesting how they combined that all, or like made this environment so lively. What else was there? Oh, last thing I did, or I guess in television purposes, I tried to watch Sabrina. Boy, what a snoozer that one is. That's not that bad. It's the new Sabrina show. I have problems. It should be cool. It really should. Because like they also built a cool world of like this witch community and witch like society, but then they waste a bunch of time with like our high school is banning books and these episodes are an hour long. Like, what the fuck are we doing? And it's like, oh, the girl who is so concerned about the books being banned, she's gonna go blind. I'm like, I don't care. I just don't give a fuck. Like, why are we concerned with this? So boring. Good fucking lord. It's terrible. And then they have this one character who wasn't in the original show, and I don't know who he is, because, like, he's got a different complexion. Like, he's, like, I think black, but he might be, like Greek or something. I don't know. He's, like, not, like, dark, but he's not pale white like the two aunts in Sabrina. So but he calls them auntie, so I'm not really sure what his relationship is with them. And she calls him cousin. So I'm not really sure what that is. He might just, I don't know. I don't really understand, because I didn't get into it enough where I understand, like, how witch families work. I don't know. And he also, his last name is Spellman, which is theirs too, so I don't really know how he's related, but he's so fascinating. The things he's doing, he's like the, what do you call it? They work at like a morgue, and he does like the autopsy thing, or he makes people look pretty when they're dead. That's not autopsy, whatever that job is. And he finds like a dead kid, and then he's going through and he's like, oh, this one has a witch's mark. He was probably murdered by a witch hunter. And then he finds that guy's boyfriend, and they bang, and then he's like, oh wait, the fucking, like, he's like, I gotta solve this mystery. He's like solving this mystery, and like he's getting into this kid's world, and it was so fascinating. And then they go and fucking deal with this book banning thing. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I don't know what any of this is. I want none of this. Get this out of my life. And then I was like, I can't do this. It's an hour long. Like, I might watch it and just fast forward to his parts because he's so much more interesting. Like, I don't give a fuck about the fucking main character or the family besides this guy. And then, like, even the world stuff with, like, the witches was super whack. Where they're like, they go to this, like, witch trial, but it was, like, court. And there was, like, a guy who is not a witch, but he knows witch law. and it's so silly, and it just sounds like they're talking like bird law, like just nonsense, and everything's like backwards, and there's these 3 old men, and they don't say order, they say disorder, because it's fucking witches and the devil and fucking whatever. It's so nonsense, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. It's so silly. This is way too silly, and the cool guy who's not doing the silly thing, who's doing a very, very serious thing, is getting like maybe 5 minutes an episode, and of an hour-long episode. Like, this is nonsense. He is so much more interesting, so I gave up on that, and went on to Castlevania, and I'm only like halfway through. But boy, is that a good television show. That's a neat one. They do cool things. That's a cool world, but granted, they didn't really build it in there. Like, it's weird because they'll do things where, like, they showed a picture of, like, they go to the Belmont, like, estate is where I am right now. There's a picture of Leon. And, like, I just know what Leon looks like. I never played the games he was in, or the game he was in, but, like, I know what he looks like. I'm familiar with him. So, like, I saw, I go, oh, it's Leon. Wow, they really, like, went deep with, like, some of the references to these characters. And then they have the conversation of, oh, this house was built by Leon Belmont, da, da, da. I was like, oh, okay. So they're like, aware. Like, they know what they're doing. Like, they're very smart with what they're doing. This is really cool. Like, if you're a huge fan of Castlevania, I bet you come in your pants every episode. Like, it's amazing. Because they're doing, like, I'm, like, tangentially associated with Castlevania, and I can still keep up with what's happening. Like, I know about the Belmonts and the various weapons and stuff they do and whatever, the various members of the clan, whatever, vague, stuff the general stuff you might find if you just exist and paying attention to video games or whatever. And so, like, I can only imagine if you're die hard about it, like, this is the greatest fucking show ever. And it's just really cool too. It's really, like, cool ideas. I love, like, the Vampire Society. I think that's super cool. I wish, like, I like things that do that, where it's like, here's, like, this myth, like, that's kind of what Sabrina was doing, but with witches, like Castlevania does with vampires. Like, oh, we have a vampire society, and there's a vampire army, and there's a hierarchy here, and, like, whatever. I think it's very cool. I like that stuff. I think it's neat. I think it'd be cool if that existed in real life. Terrifying, because vampires are endlessly powerful, and, like, you would just lose every fucking time. You would need a Belmont clan to even contest. Like, we would just lose every time. It wouldn't even be close. But it is what a time. What a time this Castlevania is. I'm gonna finish that later this week. I've been, like, slacking, and then, like, I forgot my headphones, went to New York, and it was the most painful thing ever. It's like, I have no music, I have no podcasts, I can't watch things on the train. Like, I have to just deal with it and stare at the wall. I brought my Vita so I could, like, play that occasionally, or I'd read manga or something, but just, like, this is, like, killing me. Because right now I'm, like, especially when I was on my way back, I was tired, I was dirty, I don't want to, like, do anything. I just want to, like, let something else entertain me. I don't want to have to entertain myself. Yeah, so it was, like, a lot of work. Yeah, Castlevania is cool. Yeah. What else did I do? I rewatched Beetlejuice and Edward Scissorhands for, like, Halloween. Although apparently I just went to Best Buy. Edward Scissorhands is a Christmas movie, which, like, I guess is a Christmas scene, and it snows. So sure, I'll give you that. But I was like, they had like a display rack of Christmas movies, and then it was just like the stuff you would normally expect. And then also Edward Scissorhands. I was like, is that a Christmas movie? I guess it is, right? All right, cool, sure. I watched it because I thought the character looked cool, and it was Halloween, so I was like, I'll do that. Heather from Pale Waves went as her as Halloween. It was pretty good. Or him as Halloween. She went as him for Halloween. Yeah, there we go. I, like, did that backwards. And I was like, all right, so I'll watch that. But yeah, both of those, fantastic. I loved them as a kid. I was, like, obsessed with both of them for some reason. Especially Beetlejuice, because they had that cartoon also. So I saw the movie, I'm like, it was amazing. And then, like, later found out, like, there's a cartoon. Are you fucking kidding me? And I was, like, obsessed. I loved it so much. And, like, going back to both of them, I'm like, holy shit. I'm feeling like a child again. This is nice. So that was cool to do that again. I think Beetlejuice might be one of my favorite movies of all time. Like, it's, like, definitely, I gotta make a list. People often ask me, like, oh, what's your favorite movie? Because I'll ask other people. Like, that's how I, like breaking the ice. I'm like, oh, what's your favorite movie? And just, like, going from there. Because a lot of times, too, which is nice for me, no one has a weird, stupid taste like I do. So someone will be like, oh, this movie that everyone's seen. I'm like, great. I have a place. I can go from here. I have a conversation. I've seen this. I can go. I can do this. But every once in a while, you find that guy. You're like, you're mentioning something I'm aware of. I've heard of this movie. But god damn it, I've never seen it. Like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Like, we can try. We can try to have this conversation, but I'm going to fail. So, like, thank God for most people having, like, tame taste that's not, like, a fucking headache to figure out. Like, if I walked up to someone and go, oh, Suspiria is my favorite movie, they'd be like, go fuck yourself. You're like, I'm right. You're right. That was out of line. I should have respected you for not being insane like I am. What was I saying? I had a point. Oh, I should make a list. Because I often get asked. I never have an answer. I just make a list for everything, to be fair. I don't have a list for, like, the only thing I'm, like, solid on is, like, top 3 games. But, like, I only have a 4 and 5. Like, I should probably figure that out in case anyone asks. Who's going to ask? No one really. But I like to know. For me, it's like a fun task too, because you gotta like break it down. Like, but do I really love this thing more than this thing? This thing has this part that's pretty bad, but this part, this whole thing, you know, it's like fun to kind of, like, I had a list going for a long time. I think I've since neglected it to, a business or to non-existence. It might not even be on this phone. It might be on the other phone. It was just like songs I like a lot, and the list just got absurd. It just kept going and going and going. Because at first I was like, oh, I'll just throw everything on there, and then I'll compile it from there as like a top 10. And I got, like, in one like sitting, I got to like 50. And I was like, boy, this is just fucked from the beginning, huh? I'm never gonna fix this list. So I would just start adding. I was like, all right, this will just be a nonsense list of just a spattering of whatever I like. And like if I come across a new one, I'll throw it in there. And so I was just kind of just adding, but I think I've just started neglecting it. I was gonna do it with movies too, but I feel like that's gonna be the same problem. I'm gonna sit there and go, oh, I like this one and this one and this one and this one and this one, and then just gonna get way out of hand. By like 2 seconds in, I'll have 20 listed, and I'm like, well, there goes my fucking top 10 list. Like that's out of the way. Speaking of songs, that fucking new League of Legends song is fucking fire. I haven't played League of Legends in years and could care less about it, so I'm not even surprised I'm not super surprised I didn't find out about this because it's so fucking good. It's exploded everywhere. That music video is dope as fuck. The KDA, what is the name of the song? Popstar, I think is the name of the song. KDA is the name of the group. They made like a, for context, they made a K-pop group for the World's tournament, which I think was in Seoul this year. I think that's why they did K-pop, because it's in Korea, so let's just do a huge Korean, another aspect of Korean culture, K-pop, whatever. And they just took a couple characters from League. Some of them most of them make sense. The only one I don't really know is there's like a new girl they picked. I don't remember her name. She's one of the characters that is in this group, so I don't really know what her thing is. But they have Ari, who was introduced when the Korean League servers opened up, I believe. So like that makes sense. Like they picked like cool characters. But Akali is fucking dope. She's wearing like this. I don't even know what her outfit is, but like it like has like neon invisible paint, and so she like it goes dark at one point, and she's got like this like she's wearing a face mask, so I guess it's like that kind of thing. But like it has like teeth on it, and it can move when she talks, and she has like she has makeup on when the black light goes on, which is super cool, and like her clothes are all like painted in cool ways, and like it's dope. And the song's fucking slaps. That shit is dope. I love it so much. I've been listening to it all day on repeat. I found it days. It was weird too. I found it weeks ago. Like I guess when it happened, so it'd be like early November or whatever. But I really didn't. I just saw like gifs of Akali because she's super cool looking in this, and then I heard parts of it. Oh, that's really cool. That was like really good. And then I watched yesterday or today. Was it today? I don't remember. I know it must have been yesterday. I watched the live performance, like the reveal of it at Worlds. They did like a live performance. They brought 2 members of G Idol. I have no idea how to pronounce that. It's a K-pop group. It's weird. K-pop groups, they always stylize their names in ways I have no idea how to pronounce. Like it took me like probably a couple months to figure out how to pronounce 21's name, because it's spelled the number 2 N-E, the number 1. So it's 2-ni-1. And I was like, oh, it's 21. Okay. I get it now. But like they always style it like really weird. And they have like G within brackets, or maybe it's parentheses, dash idol. So I'm going to assume it's just G idol, but it could be pronounced, I don't know. They took 2 people from there. I'm guessing their main vocalist and their rapper, because Akali has a rapping verse in there. So I'm assuming that, because K-pop groups always have like a rapper, which is adorable, and I love it so much. Listening to a Korean just like rap is super, it sounds super cool, because that language is like flows really well. So you hear it like in like fast, sounds really cool. But I'm guessing that's her role, and that's why they picked her. And then they picked 2 American YouTubers. I think is fucking awesome. I've never heard of these girls because like I'm not a child. I'm a 25-year-old man. I don't find these things on the internet. But like yeah, they picked like these. I like looked into them, who they were, and I only remember the one, but she like started with like covers on YouTube and like took off. And the other girl's even younger, so I assumed, like I looked up this first girl, and I'm like, oh wow, she's 21, and like looked into her Wikipedia, and it goes, oh, did covers on YouTube, and then started releasing her own songs, and now does this. And then the other girl looked up and she was like 19, probably the exact same story, and I moved on. She could be totally different, but I'm assuming like, she has a YouTube channel. I assume that's how she got her start. I'm just going to assume that. But yeah, it was like, oh, that's fucking really cool. They pick like, then it's cool they pick like they pick 2 Americans and they pick 2 Koreans for this thing. That's kind of like, those are the 2 big markets, I assume. I think, Korea's huge over there, League of Legends for them. And I would imagine Riot being an American studio, that's not part of it or whatever. And it's such a good song. It's so fucking good. I don't know how they picked I want to know how they found the people. They picked the people they wanted to pick, because there's more people in G-Idol, or however you pronounce that group. There's more people in there, so I don't know why they only picked 2, and then how they picked the 2 Americans, and then how they picked the characters that these people portrayed, because they like mocapped them too, which is super cool. I would love to know everything about it. And I watched like this behind the scenes thing thinking I was going to find this, but it was just like a weird vlog of the 2 Koreans and like their time in America, and then the performance that they did, and like how much fun they had. And they were so adorable. They're just like, I'm so honored to be here. This is so nice. I'm like, oh, you fucking so precious. This is so wonderful. They're such lovely people. They were just so happy. And there's one point too, because I about to go to the mocap for the characters, because they fucking had hologrammed of the characters show up for this live performance. It's fucking, what a performance. If you gotta watch anything, watch both the music video and this live performance, because they're both fascinating. Like on a production level for the live performance, my god, what a fucking, they had like the music video in the background and like a big jumbotron, and then they had they had like all these dancers in what looked like a Kali's outfit. I wasn't really fully paying attention. They were all individually like the hat and the mask and like her jacket or whatever, and then they had the 4 performers coming out. As they would come out, holograms of their character would stand next to them doing the parts of the music video, kind of, or like do the moves or whatever they have to do. Because at one point, like Akali throws her E. Is it her E? Whatever the fucking heart is. It could be her W, I forget. She throws that, and so like the hologram does it too, and it's like, oh, this is interesting. Like it was fascinating, and the music video is just dope. It's just so cool. Such a visually appealing fucking thing. It's so fun. But man, what a fucking dope song. What was I saying before I got on this tangent? Doesn't matter. So good. Oh, making a list of things, but whatever, it doesn't matter. This is way cooler. This is way more interesting. Yeah, go listen to that. KDA Pop Star. I think it's the name of the song. I think the name of the song is Pop Star. They're singing about being pop stars, so I assume that's what it is. So dope. So good. All right, I'm gonna stop. I've been going for an hour, and I like to try to keep it short on these ones. And I'm thirsty. I meant to bring up water, and I didn't, and so that's gonna make me stop. And my back hurts. I'm like an old person complaining. What am I saying? Yeah, so that was good. I just dumped a bunch of shit on the table here. What a good time. What a good time. Do I have any thoughts about any things here? I don't know. We'll see what happens with the next one. I don't know when I'm doing that. Because I'm trying to get another job and stuff, and like I don't know what I'm doing, so like I might have a bunch of free time, I might have no free time. I don't know what's happening, because I might end up getting 2 things going at once, or I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. There's a lot happening. A lot going on. So yeah, I gotta like make a phone call. I got a bunch of phone calls tomorrow. I don't wanna. It's gonna be a lot of work, and I might not be able to. I might be somewhere. I don't know. I got things that are happening. On a positive note, I might start streaming soon. That's kind of cool. I don't know, right? I realize I have like a month and a half before Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out, and I kind of wanted to get through all of them. So I can do it all pretty quick from at least the first 2, which are or not the first 2. I guess 1 and 2, because I can do them pretty quickly. But the other ones I don't really have as much familiarity with. I guess I could get through Birthday Sleep. I've beaten Birthday Sleep like 4 or 5 times. Well, I've beaten all 3 characters twice, but the amount of times I've done those worlds is a lot, so I don't know. It's hard to say. Like I've done each campaign probably 8 times or something, but I've only beaten them all the way through. Like I've only beaten up to like the secret episode twice. So, what was I saying? I don't remember. Yeah, so I might start streaming soon. That's exciting. But I gotta get a couple more things so that I can get everything up and running. But I have the capture card sitting next to me. It's in a box. I don't know where else to put it. I had it like strung out, and I was ready to start like practicing with it, or like set it up, and I was like, oh boy, I don't have enough USB ports, so I had to buy a splitter. So, like, a couple days from now, we might be up and running. But I do want to just do that because like it'd be kind of fun to have to do or whatever, it's just here's a thing to do. What was I saying? That's it. I guess I'm done. I don't really want to keep just rambling on. Yeah. Thanks for listening. Follow me on things. Email the show, yourbrandtom@gmail.com. I don't know. Fucking tell me your shit. I don't care. I've read them on the show before. I read them off the show and then commented on it later. That's happened before too. So who knows? If you want to fill your email full of slurs, it's probably less likely going to be read, but who knows? I don't know how I'm going to feel. I could find that hilarious. I don't know. Am I out of things? I'm out of things to say. I'm just vamping for. Is it vamping? What is it? Now I'm actually just wasting time. All right, so I'm done. Email the show. Follow me on things. I love you lots. Thanks for listening. Your love me kisses.